So
Yeah, so let us continue with our discussion here. Tell me, what are the biggest barrier or persistent barriers that you see in developing this supply chain for carbon credit projects, and especially in context of Africa?
So the biggest barrier is basically in the kind of systems which are being followed. So the registries look at, say, ABC, what is being done, like if I compare with India or even with Africa, it will be XYZ, right? So there is a big gap between what the registries want, because registries are based in Western European countries. They are used to proper systems. We are used to looser systems of operating. So getting the systems in place, that is one barrier. The second is the finance. Now you have to pay the rag pickers. So can you sustain that for a period, in the case of plastic, for a period of 8 to 14 months of paying the rag pickers, because that's how long it takes for the entire process to be done and the credits to be issued. These are the barriers.
One question from here, that yes, when would they be able to establish that they are being being collecting and they are paying the person, and it is ongoing, like sustaining business, in a sense of, you mentioned that we will have to have people who can collect waste, and so the question is that who will monitor it? So what type of regulations and compliance and due diligence are required for such process?
Very good question. So the systems that have to be followed are full of evidence requirements. So each, let's say, rag picker collects something and brings it in. That has to be weighed, and there has to be photographic evidence that on this particular day, Mr. A has brought in so much of waste, and this is how it has been recorded. So there is a weighing scale that is required and a camera with a date and timestamp that is required.
Right. And then only they will be able to pay them.
Yes. So that evidence is what the registry will look at, because it's like a finance audit. So when a finance company comes to audit your company, they look at all the bills, the receipts, and things like that. So similarly, the auditor here will also check to see all the paperwork and the documentation in place.
So do you have any automatic instruments for such things? Or
Yes, so
what things would help them?
there are weighing scales. We can always make IoT sensors on that. So the person puts the IoT, the bag on it, and then the IoT sensor sends the data that this particular person has brought in so much of waste. That can be done.
Okay, so that is for the raw waste.
Yeah.
And then it has to be cleaned.
Yes.
And the
then
cap needs to be
packaged and sent to the recycler. So while it is going from the godown or wherever they have stored it, they will have to do another round of weighing with photographs.
I mean, the person who collects will bring that with the label and the cap, which we don't want, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
we will, and then when after the process and going to the recycle, between that we are removing the cap and the
Plastic.
label.
Yeah.
So there will be decrease in weight.
Yes, but that is not much of decrease. So after removing that, it has to be 1 ton.
Yeah. Okay. So we will have to work out how it works, what we pay for the one bottle or whatever the weight, 1 kg or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what the recycle gets within that process, and who does the process, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Because when, in European countries, especially in Germany, I have seen that we put the bottle in the collector. And we have to have the label, because
Okay.
that label only identifies the bottle, and then you
Yes.
get the pay for that.
Yes. That's an
Like,
automatic machine.
yeah,
Here it is manual.
manual,
Yeah.
yes.
So the machine will go somewhere where the label is taken off.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And do you know what are the government, any government initiatives for Africa which would support such things, and
Uh,
would, for especially for carbon credits, because I understand that even the carbon credit projects needs to be within the priority of the government, and they need to have that. Otherwise, the carbon credit project does not get uh,
Go forward.
verified, or maybe
Yeah.
not, cannot be in the registry, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So
So
can you explain that, please?
yeah. So here there is no government involvement as such. Uh, the registry, when we prepared the project document, PDD, project descriptive document, that AIROI will do, that goes to a registry. The registry could be gold standard, Vera, whatever, PCX, so on. Those registries have a set of third-party auditors. Those auditors will verify the documents first, and then they will make a physical visit to the site to see what is in the document is actually happening or not. And they will give some recommendations on where we can improve. So once we do those recommendations and confirm back to them in writing that yes, we have implemented 10 on 10 of the recommendations you have given, then the auditor will certify it and give it to the registry. And the registry after 1 month will issue the credits, the certificates which have the credits. Those credits can be sold.
I completely understand, and thank you for that. Now, what registry do you normally use?
So
Because
we
I
have
know
used,
Vera has plastic,
yes.
recently got plastic one,
So
but what else can
we have
are
used
the options?
we have used Vera, we have used PCX. We are also talking to GCR, Global Carbon Registry. I think that's based in the UK. Part of CTX. CTX is a carbon trade exchange. So these are the three we are in touch with. We have a meeting with another registry first week of Jan, which is US based, sorry, Netherlands based, which also does plastic and agriculture and water. So the reason why we talk to different registries is each registry has its own rules and regulations. Like Vera does not take plastic which are more than 1 year or 2 years old. PCX will take 3, 4 years old data also. So the more back in time we go, the more credits we can earn. So depending upon how old the project is, when it was started, we will decide which registry to go in for.
Yeah, but generally for Africa, it would be a new project, isn't it?
Yes, yes,
Generally
yes.
speaking, there might be there, but I believe generally it would be something like that.
Something new, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And I yes. So when you talk about trees, there are plenty of forest in
Hmm.
Africa, and but they are traditional forest in a sense of indigenous forest, like
Yes,
they have not been used. And I see there are many issues about um, not having carbon credits. I don't know. Can you explain anything around it?
yeah. So if it's an older forest and they cannot claim carbon credits only on the basis of the trees. So there you club it with biochar, that is one. Second, you can also claim it under a RED project,
Red
reforestation,
plus.
RED plus plus. So there, if there is some amount of wildlife conservation, it could be elephants or tigers or cheetahs, monkeys or insects, butterflies. If those are endangered, and because you're conserving the forest, you are ensuring that they do not get extinct, you can claim carbon credits there also.
Yeah, but the main issue is about monitoring and reporting
Yes,
and so on. So what are the procedures we require, for example, such forest to be like
satellite mapping
in
is
the
one.
carbon credit?
Satellite mapping is one,
Hmm.
where we do a satellite mapping of the area once in every 3 months or once every 6 months to understand the density. So if the density in the overall area from day one till, let's say, 3 years later is the same, that means there is no cutting of trees taking place. If the trees are being cut in large quantity, that will reflect on the satellite. Plus, there will be physical audits. We will also train local people on what they need to ensure is being done at the ground level on a regular basis. So then employment generation takes place. And then, so that becomes another one of the SDGs which gets covered. So we will
But
have
I
people,
also, but
we
I
will,
also, sorry, yeah, please continue.
so we will have local people, we will have satellite covering.
Okay. But I also see that there is a compliance requirement that we need anyone who wants to get a carbon credit for the forest, they need to establish that there will be no invention by the
Yes.
government or it is like highly protected or something. I saw that. Can you explain on that something
Yeah.
more on it?
So basically, what it means is it should not be under a compliance. So if the government has decided that this particular area has to be a protected forest, then whether you do something or do nothing, it is protected and preserved by the government. There you cannot claim credits.
Right.
But in the area where the government has not said anything, there you can claim credits.
Okay, I have come across one example where, um, say, lumbering was taking place
Hmm.
or was proposed, and therefore now people who are staying, living in there, very few families living in that forest wants to protect it.
Hmm.
So, is that case valid to go for the carbon credit project?
Yes, because if lumbering was already being done, that means a lot of deforestation has happened.
No,
So replantation.
maybe it was not done, but was proposed. Or maybe in
Huh,
some part of that was done. I'm not sure, but it is in such cases, we can do that, right?
you can, yes. See,
Okay,
one simple thing is to collect the twigs, the leaves, and convert it into biochar. And
right.
that biochar gets sold in the market at a good price. Plus, you get
Okay,
carbon credits on that.
okay. Now, just one last thing, going back to your you being helping them to get into the registry and so on. Um, is there any constraint for any country to register with you?
No, there's no constraint.
No.
No.
Okay. All right. I think that's all for now. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, you're also going to Brazil, middle of Jan.